Young learners, parents and teachers, my namaste to you all. Allow me to introduce myself to you. I am Samadarshiniji and I'm extremely happy today to be with you. Over the next few minutes, give me time to discuss with you about the purpose and the importance of true education or complete education. What exactly is education? Is education merely about learning the 3 R's, namely reading, writing and arithmetic? Is it simply about acquiring tools for survival, or is it something more? Can there be a higher purpose to education? After all, because the most precious part of our life, the first 20 years of our life, we are dedicating to learning this magnificent process called education. World over, Oneness has over the past 19 years been conducting programs for a variety of cross-section of people. We've conducted programs for students like you. We've also conducted programs for professionals, conducted programs for tribesmen, also for religious leaders, for men, for women, young, old alike, and for millions of people. And in this process of conducting, for the corporates especially, sometimes when we have had very close interactions at a personal level, we have found some of the corporate heads coming and talking to us, telling us, when we do employ a person into our industry, we can definitely equip them and train them with technical know-how, with understanding of the specifically required subject. But then what we do not understand is, how do we create someone who's a quality human being? How do we train somebody that they need to set aside their personal ego and give importance to the project that lays ahead of them? How do we train somebody, how do we teach somebody that they are not the only important people in the world and that importance has to be shared? How do we train somebody or teach or educate somebody that work is sacred and politics need be brought into work? Can you help us with that? What do we understand from this? It's very obvious that for the success of an individual, what one requires is not just academic excellence, but one also needs human perfection. Human perfection and academic excellence. If these two can be married in the consciousness of any one individual, then success is definitely bound to reach that person. How do we go about doing this? How do we go about fusing academic excellence and human perfection into one individual? And how do we set him up for success in life and success on an ongoing basis, not a temporary success that would come today and fizzle out tomorrow? If you're interested, get going. Some time ago, I happened to read a story of a young and an affluent couple who was settled in a not so rich area. Now, one evening, when they were about to go for a walk, as they came out of their house, they noticed that a brand new Cadillac was parked in front of the house of their neighbor who was not so wealthy. And the neighbor was standing in front of the car and admiring the car. So these two walked up to the neighbor and asked, "Your car? You purchased it? Beautiful." And the neighbor smilingly said, "My car, sir, but I have not purchased it. My brother, my younger brother gifted it to me." As he said that, his eyes were brimming with tears. The moment the husband heard this, he heaved a deep sigh and said, "Oh, how I wish I also had a brother like you have." Instantly, the wife who was standing next to him smiled and said, "Oh no, I don't intend to have a brother like that. How I wish I were a brother like that. How I wish I had the means and the heart to give such a beautiful gift to someone I love." Now, look at these two people. Is there not a world of difference between this couple? The man seems to embody an attitude where if he failed in life or whatever was happening to him in his life, he always seemed to throw the responsibility onto somebody else's shoulders. If he failed in life, it was either because of his parents or because his schooling did not go well, or because society was unfair, or even because God was unjust. But the woman was entirely different. What kind of a lady was this woman? She knew that whether it was failure or success in life, she had to take the responsibility of her life into her own hands. She knew if she had to manifest great relationships, she had to become love herself. If she had to manifest prosperity in her life, she had to acquire a consciousness that is brimming with prosperity, also skills that would enable her to reach out to prosperity. She was somebody who had set for herself a higher standard in life. Now let me ask you, what exactly is the kind of future you are envisioning for yourself? A prosperous future? A successful future? And if so, what have you become? Have you become somebody who is capable of reaching out to that kind of a future? Inquire, question yourself. In the same context, I would also like to tell you something that happened a few weeks ago, very amusing. In the market was announced the release of this beautiful product called the iPhone. Perhaps by the time this video reached you, the product would be in your hands already, and it would perhaps have also become old. But then a few days ago, when the product was initially announced, there were huge queues of youngsters standing in front of the showrooms trying to book an iPhone. What does this symbolize? To me, it symbolizes a civilization that is constantly changing. Change, of course, has all the time been there, but then modern civilization is characterized by what we could call accelerated change. Change at an amazing pace. Yesterday's fashion is out of fashion today. Yesterday's clothing is out of mode today. Yesterday's education, yesterday's courses that you learned by the time you completed your education and came out of your college is outdated already. The world is changing so fast, and where do you figure out your place in this entire process of change? Now today, you are in a position where a desire arises in your heart. You are so quickly able to lay your hand into the purse of your father or your mother and pick some money and have your way. But what about your future 5 years from now? What about your future 10 years from now? Where do you see yourself in this context of accelerated change? Do you see yourself in a position where you can make so much money that you can fulfill all your desires? If so, what are the kinds of skills you have acquired? Do you think the pace at which you are learning is sufficient for you to manifest this kind of a future? Do you see that the amount of attention, the amount of love you are able to bring to education today is sufficient to launch you into a magnificent future? Inquire. Dear friends, if you're still keen on going ahead with me, then stay with me for the next 20 minutes. And over the next 20 minutes, I have one request to ask of you. For heaven's sake, do not come to any preconceptions. Do not come to any conclusions until you have heard me out completely. Be a scientist, be an explorer. A scientist is somebody who, when he approaches a microscope, does not come to a conclusion before even he has made his observation. He has an open mind, a mind that is prepared to observe and learn. So be scientists and walk with me. I now want to let you into a real life story. This is the story of a girl I know at a very personal level. I don't want to reveal to you the name of this person because it is irrelevant. This person could be somebody like me, she could be you, or she could be your sister, she could also be your daughter, she could be your student, she could be anybody. Now, this girl was the third child of the family. When in a family there is even one child, the child often complains of inadequacy of love from the parents. What about this family? And especially so when both the parents are always warring. In this particular girl's case, both the parents had a tendency to go into tremendous fights at the slightest provocation. And this girl had acquired a nature to complain about life and love. Through all this mediocrity in her personality, there was still a spark of something special that lurked within her. She had a vision for her life. She all the time wanted to become a great doctor with a beautiful heart who would reach out to the poor and serve them. And it is this vision that used to make her sit in front of her books and read and read and read and study, even though she was a very average learner. Now, somehow this entire thing underwent a tremendous change when she was doing her 11th standard. In her 11th standard, her parents were going through a tough financial crisis, and this added to the already existing conflict between them. Both of them one morning got into a rage. They picked a tremendous fight with each other, and when this girl interfered in between, they spewed the entire anger on her and hurt her very, very badly. The result? The girl was depressed, she felt totally lost, and in this state of dejection, she arrived at her college. When she reached her college, there was a young man who spoke very affectionately to her, very lovingly to her. And you can imagine the consequence. She felt loved and accepted for what she was. It gave her a sense of self-worth. She felt that this was the only person in life who had truly understood her and who truly loved her. So, as a result, what she did was, she felt so much in love with this person that she even forgot her vision in life, and her educational standards began to go down. And in course of time, in her 12th standard examinations, she fared very poorly and could not get into medical college. However, with great difficulty, she could get into BSc Biotechnology and continued studying. She was going to her college, but education was no more a priority. Learning was no more number one on her list. When she had reached her BSc second year, she somehow realized that it was time for her to speak to this boy seriously about their marriage, because they had gone very far into the relationship. One evening, sitting in a park, she inquired with him, "When do you think we should be getting married?" The boy looked quizzically at her and said, "Marriage? I never had the intention of marrying you, because the woman I choose to marry has to have a great character. You see, you have been roaming around with me, flirting with me so much. What's the guarantee that you would not do this after we are married together with somebody else?" Imagine the condition of this girl. She was totally devastated. Her dreams had been shattered. Her life had gone to naught. What had she lost in the process? She had lost respect in society because she had become the matter of gossip everywhere. She had lost love of her parents, and above all, she had lost her vision and her own self-respect. She was no more able to respect herself for what she had done to herself. In this state of desperation, she thought of committing suicide but never had the courage to actually die. Afraid to die, she continued living. And one day when she came back to her classes, she found 5 of her friends very enthusiastic, very, very happy about something. And they suddenly seemed to be so much focused on the studies, and their topics of discussion had become entirely different. So she got to them and inquired, "Hey there, I am lost in depression, and how is it that you people are so happy?" And the 5 of them said, "We are going through a 49-day process. We are going through an amazing journey that's lasting for 49 days, and it is this journey that is giving us the necessary focusedness and the joy that we are today able to experience." The girl for a long time was quizzical about what they had to say, but who can resist the force of friends? She also joined the journey, and in these 49 days, she found a transition happening within her personality. The first thing that happened was, until then, if she sat in front of her books, she had to put in great effort to understand whatever was there in front of her, because the mind had a tendency to wander. Her speed of learning was very, very slow, though she was a hardworking student. She found, as she undertook this journey for 49 days, her learning ability had increased. Learning had become faster. The pace of learning had quickened very much. The second thing that she noticed was memory recall had become easy. She was able to access her memory with much greater ease than she did earlier. The third thing that happened to her was knowledge, for some reason, had started getting organized in her head. If until then she used to look at a book, she used to be scared, saying, oh my goodness, I have to remember this entire thing, learn this entire thing and keep it in my brain. Even the prospect of it used to be frightening to her, and therefore sometimes she would shut the book down and sit with fear for some time quietly. Now she found that learning was getting organized, and various subjects that she had learned earlier were getting connected in her brain. Please understand, dear friends, that whenever various subjects get interconnected with each other, that is the beginning of the birth of intelligence. And that's exactly what was happening to her. And she, after completing the 49-day journey, fared amazingly well in her examinations. And at the end of it, she went along with her friends for a darshan of Sri Amma Bhagavan. When she went for the darshan, it was a river of young learners who were passing in front of Sri Amma. She too went in that river. She too was a droplet in that river. And strangely, the volunteers who were requesting everyone to move on somehow did not ask her to move. She stood there looking at Amma's beautiful countenance with a prayer in her heart, saying, Amma, fill my heart, give me clarity, give me direction, give me a destiny. As she stood there praying, that last bit of journey which was yet incomplete started completing itself. The pain that was suppressed within her heart started erupting like a volcano. The pain started coming out, and there she was sobbing her heart out. The hurt, the hatred she had for the boy, the guilt she had within herself, and her own self-hatred, everything was as though coming undone from within her. Her heart started melting, and in a few minutes, she felt as though a wave of divine grace had come from Amma and flown into her heart. And suddenly, there was calm, a calm that one usually finds after a big storm. With this experience of silence and calm in her heart, she left the darshan, and she was sure she now was poised for a great victory in life. She went on to completing her BSc, and then she completed her MSc. She today has also completed her PhD and is working as a scientific officer in a reputed research institute, which is currently researching for a cancer drug, and she is leading the project. A life of tremendous satisfaction. That's what she has acquired in this process of 49 days. Curious? Want to know what this 49-day journey is all about? All right. Now, this journey, which can bring attention to you, which can make you more intelligent, which can give you tremendous focusedness, which can also help you in accessing your memory with much greater ease, which can also turn you into a more wonderful human being than you presently are, than you presently think you're capable of. You know, this is what is called Vidya Mala. Vidya Mala. What exactly is the Vidya Mala? Vidya Mala is a combination of ancient Indian wisdom and modern scientific knowledge. It's a beautiful blend of the two, and this together, this combination, this amazing combination, creates a tremendous phenomenon of power in the lives of those who adopt it. Now, this is also called as the morphogenic study circle world over. Morphogenic study circle. What exactly is a morphogenic study circle? To understand this, perhaps you have to walk along with me 50 years back in time. Almost 50 years ago, a scientist called Rupert Sheldrake, with a group of his friends, was researching in an island off the coast of Japan on a group of monkeys. He took a group of monkeys for research and taught them how to wash a potato and peel it in a particular way and eat it. He found that the first few monkeys took a lot of time before they could learn it, while the rest of the monkeys later on learned it at a much faster pace. Surprising? More surprising still is an evidence that he discovered later. As the monkeys here learned how to wash and peel a potato and eat it, an amazing phenomenon was unfolding in another island totally unconnected to this one. A same species of monkeys, a same group of monkeys that lived in another island off the coast of Japan in some other part had very naturally also learned to wash and peel the potato and eat it in the same way these had learned. Nobody taught them, nobody educated them. There was no cell phone communication between the two. There were also no satellites to educate them. How did this learning get communicated there? How did learning pass on from one group of monkeys to another group? To understand this, you need to know that there is a field in consciousness. There is a field in consciousness which is called a morphogenic field. And when you belong to this field, you also acquire all the learning, the wisdom and the knowledge or the experiences that have been shared by people or by beings of the same species earlier. There are two ways a morphogenic field works. The first way is, one, you should belong to the same species. The second is when you adopt the same practices that the rest of your species is also following, then you become part of a morphogenic field. To explain this further, let's say there is a group of 100 people who are very, very happy. The moment these 100 people come together, they have set in motion a field of consciousness. And when you, a stranger, enter into this field, very naturally and automatically, you also become happy. That is a field in consciousness. During Vidyamala, you must know that more than 35 lakh students across the world are going to be going through this journey, through this amazing phenomenon for 49 days. And when you become part of it, you also happen to acquire the learning that these people are acquiring world over. You become part of a field that would push you towards greater and higher intensity. In this field are going to be students who are very, very intelligent and yet want to reach higher levels of intelligence. You would also have ordinary students who are struggling to make their mark in life. You would perhaps also have children who are a little low on intelligence and are still working their way out into miracles. And you are going to reap the benefit of the journey of so many young learners. That is a morphogenic study circle. Still on with me? You're great. Go ahead. Now, is everybody qualified to be part of this process called the Vidyamala, or are there qualifications to be going through this journey? My friend, I need to tell you that you need to be qualified for it. What are the qualifications? Qualification number one, you need to be a person who is capable of passion, of amazing seriousness. If you are somebody who can set a goal for himself or for herself and who is able to generate this level of passion within yourself, where you are prepared to say, I'm prepared to do anything to get to where I want to get to. I'm prepared to work anyways, do anything to reach my destiny, to reach my goal, then you're qualified to be part of the Vidyamala. Secondly, if you're also going to be somebody who is capable of consistent effort and consistent inspiration, then you can be part of this morphogenic study circle. I have seen people who are capable of inspiration for half an hour, capable of inspiration for a day, and who can very effortlessly get diverted into something the moment they set their minds on it. Now, if you are somebody who is capable of inspiration and effort on an ongoing basis, then you qualify to be part of this morphogenic study circle. If you have not been until today, if you can right now at this moment decide that I am going to be a part of it, I am going to make myself capable of consistent and sustained effort, then you again qualify. The third way to qualify is, how do I explain it to you? I believe that people not only see with their eyes, but they also perceive with their hearts. If you only observed your life, you would discover that so many strange and amazing experiences have passed by you. You focused so much, learned all that you could, and then went to the examination, for example. And just as you picked the question paper and you studied it, you suddenly find your mind going totally blank. You begin to wonder, where's all this information? In which rack of my brain is it stored? You want to pull it out from there. Not able to. Who can help you at this point of time? Who can come to your aid at this juncture? All right, you wrote the exam very well and your answer paper went for correction. The person who was in the process of evaluating your answer paper that particular day picks a fight with her wife and comes in a mood of frustration. He doesn't do you any grave injustice except that he gives you 2 marks less, just 2 marks. And what's the impact of this? The impact is this tells on your percentage, which was so necessary for you to enter into one of the most prestigious institutions in the world, and thereby perhaps you had to sacrifice your dreams. Who can help you in this context? Your parents who love you very much, your friends who are all the time with you, your brothers and sisters who you think are a source of great support. Who do you think can really help you at this point of time? It is in these decisive moments of life that we come across the need of intervention of a much greater force than any we have seen in our lives. This tremendous force that we so look forward to reach out into our own lives is what we call divine grace. Divine grace, divine power. Vidyamala is a process that runs on the divine power of Sri Amma and Sri Bhagavan. It is their grace that dots this journey for everyone who is part of this process. Every moment, every day, you begin to experience their power as you go through this journey. Amma Bhagavan? So is this something religious? And do I have to give up my previous concepts, previous notions, previous guards? My friends, not at all. Please understand, you need not belong to any religion to be part of this journey. Or you could belong to any religious denomination that you have been born into to be part of this journey. You could also be an atheist and still undertake this journey, because when people have asked Sri Bhagavan about who Sri Bhagavan is and how they ought to relate to him, Sri Bhagavan has always said, I am your friend, your supreme friend. Take me to be your friend and nothing more. And I love to relate to you as a friend, and I would show to you that indeed I value your friendship on this planet. Who is a friend? A friend is somebody who can come to our aid when we are so much in need. But can any friend reach out to those places which God alone can reach? No way. Please understand, therefore, that Sri Amma and Sri Bhagavan are your friends. And if you were worshipping any gods earlier on, it still doesn't matter. Those gods also were your friends, and it doesn't do any harm to adopt a new friend. Therefore, religion is no bar, beliefs no bar, disbelief also no bar. Try out and see for yourself. Test it and find out. To be part of the Vidyamala, what you need to do is follow 8 rules and 3 principles. 8 rules, 3 principles. Rules, oh no, I already have rules at home, so many rules. Rules in the office, rules at workplace, rules on the road, rules in school, rules in college. I don't want more rules. I can listen to you shouting. Well, understandable, but please know this much. In my life, I have seen basically 2 kinds of people. One kind of people are those who are successful, and another kind of people are those who are failures. Successful people have been most often those who have been able to make certain rules for themselves and also have the tenacity to live by those rules, while the failures, on the other hand, have most often been those who have not been able to make rules for themselves, and even if they made rules, They don't have the tenacity to pursue them. They give up after a day or two. Now inquire and find out, what is it you are poised for? Are you poised for success or are you poised for failure? The choice is yours. I believe and know that you are somebody who are after success. If so, go ahead and embrace these rules, and if possible, love them and do them. Rule number 1. You wake up half an hour before sunrise. Half an hour before the sun has risen over the horizon. For 49 days, you need to do this. Why should you wake up half an hour before sunrise? There's a profound reason behind this. You must know, half an hour before sunrise, the earth is surrounded by a strange cosmic energy. And if at that point of time your bowels are emptied, this energy percolates into your body. It also percolates into every cell of your body. Because of this, there's every chance that your body could get revitalized and you could also acquire health very easily. Anybody who wants to get healed or cured, the best thing is for you to wake up half an hour before sunrise. You wake up half an hour before sunrise, and that waking up has to be specific. Please understand, you don't wake up from sleep, linger on the same bed and tell your mother or father, Mom, I'm planning for tomorrow. I'm planning for the entire day to come, so don't disturb me. And you still keep rolling on the bed. That's not waking up. As soon as you wake up, you simply shoot out of your bed like an arrow. Go and complete your morning ablutions. Have a cold water bath. Cold water bath. Difficult? After all, this is summer and you are young and you can do it. Why should you have a cold water bath? 2 reasons. Reason number 1 is biological. Reason number 2 is spiritual. Biologically, please understand, whenever you have a cold water shower, what happens is your brain releases a particular neuropeptide called serotonin. Serotonin has a tendency to relax your brain and your body. And when serotonin is released into your brain goes into what is called the alpha mode. The alpha mode. Just like the heart is pulsating every minute, the brain also is pulsating, and these are measured in terms of cycles per second. The brain pulsates in 4 modes. One is called beta, one is called alpha, one is called theta, and the other is called delta. Theta and delta deal with intense spiritual states like samadhi, while alpha is the ideal mode for learning. If a student is going to be in a beta state, what happens to that student? You find them everywhere. Now, you often find these kinds of students in classrooms. They are incapable of paying attention, all the time looking out of the window, pinching someone, poking fun at somebody, and the teachers usually get frustrated with these kinds of students, sometimes punish them, sometimes intimidate them, sometimes threaten them. Whatever you do, the child is quiet for some time, and the next minute he is busy making paper planes, shooting them at somebody. That's what happens when you are in beta. Impossible to learn. When a human brain moves into alpha, automatically the pace of learning quickens. And if a cold water shower can help you move easily into alpha, why not? The second reason is spiritual. Invisible to our physical eyes is a subtle body in every one of us. And in this subtle body, there is a force called Kundalini. This is the subtle energy. As this Kundalini rises upwards, you acquire wonderful qualities within yourself. You also acquire tremendous intelligence. And a cold water shower always has a tendency to awaken and pull your Kundalini upwards. That's why you have a cold water shower. Of course, there's an exception. If you're not keeping good health, you can always go for a warm water bath. Rule number 1. Difficult? Maybe difficult, but not impossible. Rule number 2. As soon as you finish your shower, sit in front of a picture of Shri Amma and Bhagavan and turn your attention upwards towards your scalp. Move your eyes upwards towards your scalp, close your eyes and chant the Moola Mantra. When you chant the Moola Mantra 7 times, what happens is it creates an effective hemispheric synchronization. Now, all of us know that the brain has 2 hemispheres, the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. Now, one part of the brain deals with analysis, logic, and reasoning, while the other deals with creative thinking and intuition. One part deals with languages, while the other deals with math. That is why you find some students who are left brain active go after languages and arts very easily, while they have greater difficulty dealing with math and sciences. Now, some people have ease dealing with math while have a problem with languages. The reason is that they do not have both the hemispheres of the brain active and sometimes don't have better synchronization. When you turn your eyes, closing your eyes when you turn them towards the crown of your head and chant the Moola Mantra 7 times, you find that there is a significant increase in the hemispheric synchronization. Shall I teach you the Moola Mantra? Close your eyes. Again, I wish to remind you that you could belong to any religious denomination and could still chant it like people are today doing it world over. This is simply the essence of Godhead. Close your eyes now. सच्चिदानंद परब्रह्म पुरुषोत्तम परमात्मा श्री भगवती समेत श्री भगवते नमः. Thank you. This is rule number 2. And what is rule number 3? Rule number 3 is you then place both your palms on the picture of Shri Amma and Bhagavan, close your eyes and visualize, mentally picturize the entire portion of the subject that you will be completing that day. Let us say you're going to be completing 2 or 3 chapters pertaining to a particular subject that day. You visualize yourself completing it with great ease. All the subject content going into your head at a tremendous pace, you learning, you understanding everything with tremendous ease. You place the palms of your hands on the picture of Shri Amma and Bhagavan and mentally visualize or imagine this way. Why do you do this? The picture of Shri Amma and Bhagavan has tremendous power because it's not just an ordinary photograph. In it is contained their consciousness. That is why world over, every day, we listen to umpteen number of instances where somebody has a picture of theirs in the pocket and accidents are being averted. They're miraculously saved. Somebody else has the picture of Shri Amma and Bhagavan in front of them and suddenly Amma and Bhagavan speak out from the picture. They gesture to you from the picture or even do for you amazing coincidences and miracles. That is why you do this. When you place your palms on their picture, you receive the divine energy that comes from them. This energy can sometimes be experienced and sometimes may not be. When you go to have an X-ray, you definitely do not know that the X-rays are passing through you, but definitely an X-ray is taken. Just the same. You touch their picture, do this, and you will definitely begin to see the results. This is rule number 3. Difficult? Not at all. Rule number 4. This is of course a tough one, but a real rule. Now, you know that in India and world over, we make an offering to God. Some people offer fruits to God, some people offer flowers to God, some people offer something else to God. While during the Vidyamala, we are going to make an offering of our learning to God. We are going to make an offering of our learning to Shri Amma and Bhagavan, to God. How do we do that? You sit in front of the book that you are going to complete that day, the portion that you're going to complete that day, and take an intent. You take an intent and say, Lord, the next few hours of my study, set the time, say 3 hours, 4 hours, or 2.5 hours of my study is going to be my dedication to you. This is my offering to you at your lotus feet. Whenever you say, this is not mine but yours, you will find miracles happening. Why? Please understand, when we say it is mine, what comes into force is our own karma, whether good or bad. Whenever we say it is yours, what comes into fore is divine grace. That is why you start your journey this way. And then over the next 3 hours or 4 or 2.5 or 2, depending on the requirement suiting your studies, you are going to sit still. You're not going to move. I have often found students 10 minutes after opening their book, get up, go drink water and come, open the refrigerator, have some juice, come back, sit down. Another 5 minutes, make a call to the friend and ask, what are you doing? Which portion are you completing? We are restless people, and a restless mind can never be in a learning mode. Please understand, for intelligence to really take birth in you, your brain has to move to another level. It has to cross a threshold. And to cross this threshold in terms of understanding a particular subject, what you need to bring to it is intensity. Whenever you sit on the same subject, say for 3 to 4 hours, what happens is strange connections begin to form in your brain. And then all of a sudden, you begin to become a genius with regards to that particular topic. Initially though, when you begin, for the first 6 to 7 days, it might be cumbersome and irritable. Your body might be asking for movement, but then deny your body of it. Use your will, sit still, and you will find after 7 to 8 days, you will begin to ache for this kind of learning. And do this for 49 days. Let us see how you cannot become a genius, especially powered by grace. That is rule number 4. And rule number 5, you complete this study, go and touch your parents' feet, do pranam to them, seek their blessing. Oh, I am modern. I have never had the habit of touching my parents' feet. I only shout at them. I fight with them. I behave funny with them. But what is this? Touching their feet? Yes. Please understand, my young friends, whenever you receive the blessings of your parents, God's blessings also flow through them. The negative tendencies of your unconscious are silenced through the blessings of your parents. Say Shri Amma and Bhagavan. We all have certain negative tendencies. Amma and Bhagavan say, when you receive the blessings from your parents, these negative tendencies get silenced and you enter into another realm of life. Life becomes increasingly beautiful. This is rule number 5. Rule number 6, what you did in the morning, you repeat it once again in the evening or in the night. You once again take a vow to sit down there, make an offering of an hour or 2 of your education to the Lord, and say you're sitting to study like this, and in between your attention wavers. There's one simple thing that you have to do. Just turn your attention again, your eyes upward towards the crown, chant the Moola Mantra 7 times and ask, Bhagavan, Amma, please help me pay attention. And you will find it happening automatically. This is rule number 6. Rule number 7, just before going to bed, think of all the people who helped you that day, your brothers, sisters, friends, enemies, teachers, parents, every one of them, strangers, and offer your gratitude towards them. And rule number 8, the last thing you do that day is think of whatever you are going to do the next day. Your wake-up time, your study time, your prayer time, and also your college going time, your sleeping time, everything. Look at the day as it would happen the next day, and this should be the last thing before you slide into sleep. When you do this, what happens is your subconscious registers your plan, and through the night it plans it out for you. Therefore, next morning when you wake up, your body is already all set to go for the vision. These are the 8 rules. If you are somebody who has set for yourself a higher standard, it is possible. If not, it would be difficult. And I suggest that parents and teachers also help the students go through this journey. If in a family, the parents also would undertake this journey along with their children, nothing like that. And there are 3 principles. Principle number 1, try every way you can to make your parents happy. Never hurt them this 49 days. Do it and see. It is possible. Try to serve them, try to give them love in whatever way you can for 49 days. And of course, I told you, in rule number 5, you need to touch the feet of your parents. Say your parents are not with you, then what do? You mentally imagine them and do pranam to them. And maybe one of these days you can call them up and ask them to bless you. And if your parents have departed, your prayers and your pranams would still reach them. Please understand, nobody ever really leaves us. They're all the time with us. Principle number 2, work out your relationship with your teachers. If you have hurt a teacher, go and seek forgiveness from that teacher. And if you have been hurt by a teacher, forgive them. Because the tendency of the unconscious is, whenever you dislike a teacher, you also fare poorly in that subject, because the mind has a tendency to connect the teacher with the subject. That is why rule number 2. Rule number 3, if you have any negative addictions, avoid them. Keep away from them for 49 days. And if you're also somebody who is indulging enormously in some entertainment extravaganzas, keep away from them. What a bad addiction is and what an entertainment extravaganza is, I need not tell you. You know it for yourself. Define it and do it. These are the 8 rules and the 3 principles. And this journey of 49 days completes itself and culminates in the darshan of Sri Amma and Sri Bhagavan. Just like tiny little rivulets, tiny little streams come together to form rivers, and rivers go together to form into a gigantic torrential flow that ultimately culminates in the ocean. All students world over, young and old, men and women, all of them make their way into the sacred presence of Sri Amma and Sri Bhagavan. And there, as they stand those few minutes in the presence of Sri Amma and Sri Bhagavan, they hold the vision of their life in their hearts. Whatever your life, whatever your vision for your life is, 10 years from then or 3 years from then or 1 year from then, what exactly is it that you want to attain? Hold that vision in your heart, visualize it, ask Amma and Bhagavan to bless you for it. You can also, of course, take blessings for the results of your examinations and then move on from there. The power of their blessing cannot be described adequately in words. In their presence, dear friends, fools become intelligent, the cowardly become courageous, failures become successful. Those who are characterized by vice become virtuous. That is their power. So, I really honor and respect you for being with me for so long. This itself shows that you are somebody who is capable of living up to your own vision. Therefore, dear friends, when do we meet again? Maybe in the darshan of Sri Amma and Sri Bhagavan. I wish you all the best, and may you have all success that you so need, that you so qualify to achieve in your life. Thank you. I was very happy to be with you. Namaste.